I tell you what, man, I am so jacked up because we get Vikings football in just 4 days. And to celebrate, I'm going to fire off some predictions for your 2023 Minnesota Vikings season. The first being, this is one of those things I'm just going to say every year until it actually happens because it's a matter of when it does, not if. Justin Jefferson will hit 2,000 yards. Last season, I predicted that he would hit the 2K mark. It didn't happen, but damn it, it will happen this year. He's going to cook damn near every cornerback that he faces this season. That includes Jaire Alexander ×2. And I tell you what, man, Jaire Alexander really just that last game that they played each other last year at Lambeau Field where he made it all about 18. I saw the pregame huddle and the thing is, Jefferson, and I could be wrong. Let me know in the comment section if Jefferson was talking smack first. Based off of my recollection, Jefferson never talked about this guy. But here comes Jaire Alexander in the pregame huddle making it all about 18. We're going to stop 18. Bro, you did nothing that game. You were the little kid talking smack because your big brothers were behind you to support you. They bracketed Jefferson the entire game, and every play they made against that one player, here comes Jaire Alexander shaking his ass, doing the gritty. Hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. Dude's a clown. You're ridiculous. Justin Jefferson will get 2,000 yards. Kirk Cousins, in what last year would be considered a down year, 29 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. He will flourish in what will be the first time that he's had continuity with the offensive coordinator. So, goodness, the last year of Zim, he had Clint Kubiak calling plays. The year before that, Gary Kubiak. The year before that, Kevin Stefanski. The year before that, John DeFilippo. This is the first year he has continuity on offense. He has Kevin O'Connell calling the plays again. So I'm going to say he's going to throw for 4,700 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He will do that in spite of taking no less than 75 hits. And don't look at me, oh, you're so negative. That was Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah that said, Ezra Cleveland, Garrett Bradbury, and Ed Ingram on the interior, they give this team the best chance to win. That's what he said, not me. Christian Darrisaw will be second-team All-Pro, and I say second-team because they're going to give it to Trent Williams every single year from here on out until he retires. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, it was Andrew Thomas. 2023, it will be Christian Darrisaw. The Vikings offense as a whole will be top 5. They're going to, you've got 3 deep with Jefferson, KJ Osborne, and Jordan Addison. You've got TJ Hawkinson. The run game will be solid. Kirk Cousins will flourish. They're going to put this team in a situation to where even if the defense struggles, and they will struggle for the most part, they'll be a lot better than what they were last year. But they are going to put this team in a situation to where if they win, they're just going to make it a track meet. We're just going to outscore you as best as we can, and we're going to see if you can keep up with us. The games where the defense is legit, Philadelphia, San Francisco, to where you have to grind out a win, that's where it gets a little bit dicey. But for the most part, they're going to outscore everybody by at least 7-10 points. On the defensive side of the ball, Danielle Hunter, more comfortable as a 3-4 outside linebacker, will have at least 15 sacks. And now moving on, I want to talk about the Vikings' outlook at quarterback of the future based off of the quarterbacks that we're seeing so far in college football. We are already done with week 1. The first 2 quarterbacks that I'll mention is more so honorable mention, except for one of them where it's got some shades of gray. And let me explain. We'll first start off with Caleb Williams. Now, I laid a whole ass plan out if you're the Vikings to have a chance to land the USC quarterback. And part of that included trading Danielle Hunter away. I think you could have gotten at least a first-round pick, maybe that and then some, for $4.99. Alas, he's with the team, probably going to lose out on him next year in free agency, especially with a no-tag clause. So before today, I was just saying, well, it's an honorable mention. We have no chance in hell. He's going to be likely an Arizona Cardinal next year. But then came today, to which I said, oh, you're telling me there's a chance. Caleb Williams and his father, Carl, spoke with GQ magazine. This is from Carl, Caleb Williams' father. Quote, "The funky thing about the NFL draft process is he'd almost be better off not being drafted than being drafted first. The system is completely backwards. The way the system is constructed, you go to the worst possible situation, worst possible team, worst organization in the league because of their desire for parity, gets the first pick. So it's the gift and the curse." Why would he mention that if he doesn't believe that his son somewhat thinks the same thing? And why would he mention that specifically when the overwhelming consensus is that Arizona, because they have two chances to land the first overall pick in next year's draft, their own first round pick, but also Houston's first round pick. After last year's draft, the Texans, they traded back up for the number 3 overall pick to draft Will Anderson, the edge rusher, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, they have two chances at that. Why would he mention that if he doesn't believe his son is somewhat thinking the same thing? And this isn't like Carl is saying this just out of nowhere to any outlet. He's saying this in the same article where his son got featured. More likely than not, he's going to go in next year's draft. But I'm telling you right now, there is potentially a chance that maybe he waits until 2025 because the NIL deals make it very, very tempting. I believe I saw him in the Heisman House commercial. I know I've seen him in Wendy's several times. They play that same damn commercial, goodness, every other time there's a break. So he's making nice money. He's not losing out on money per se, but there's a chance. That's all I'm going to say. And he's I would say, a generational prospect. If Trevor Lawrence had not existed, because he's the best prospect at quarterback since Trevor Lawrence. And the difference between those two, as far as when they'll get into the league, is 3 or 4 years. This is an honorable mention. The Vikings have no chance for this unless you trade up for this guy. There are several teams that will need quarterback next year. Not only Arizona, but Tampa. Vegas, maybe, although Aiden O'Connell looks pretty damn good. I mean, he looked really good this past preseason to where, hey, if Jimmy G, we move on from him, or he gets injured, something like that, they might feel good about him is all I'm saying. But this more than likely is not going to happen. That's Drake May, the quarterback out of North Carolina. There are two things that really stick out to me as far as when I watch him play. The first being the pocket presence. He doesn't panic at all. He's just set hut, going through his reads, and if there's pressure coming, he just moves up into the pocket and he makes his throws. Of course, it's really easy to do that when you have a damn good offensive line. I don't know. I'm not educated enough in college football to know who has the best offensive line in the country, but I know that North Carolina, they looked pretty damn good last Saturday. What I also like about Drake May is that his deep throws are almost always in stride with his receivers. It kind of reminds me to a degree of Peyton Manning, to whereas when you go back and look at Peyton Manning's career, professional career, you rarely see his receivers have to jump for a catch, to go for a jump ball. Drake May, especially on that deep pass, he'll throw it, and you know what? He gives his playmakers a chance at yards after the catch to make an even bigger play than what he initially did already. He's going to be a special quarterback, probably after the Caleb Williams hype and the talent that he has. Drake May, after that, is probably the most pro-ready quarterback for the National Football League. Next, I want to talk about Bo Nix, quarterback out of Oregon. I'm going to put him in the I need to see more from him category because he finally flourished as a fourth-year senior. The previous 3 years, he played at Auburn in the SEC, and he struggled mightily. Goes to Oregon, lighter competition, and suddenly he looks good. I just need to know, is this just a one-off, what we saw last season, 2022, or can he at least be consistent to where you can trust it a little bit more? Now, last week they played Portland State, final score 81-7. That's just ridiculous, but I mean, that's lower competition. But you are going up against Colorado. We'll talk about Shedeur Sanders in just a little bit, but you're going up against Colorado, now ranked 22nd after beating the previously ranked 17th TCU. You're going to go up against Washington. You're going to play Utah, USC, and Oregon State. So if he can at least emulate what he did last year, this time as a fifth-year senior, then I'll know a lot more about him. Next, I want to talk about Jordan Travis, the quarterback out of Florida State. There's a wow factor to his game. You can see the RPOs basically to where you can call whatever plays that you want for your quarterback, and Jordan Travis is going to execute it at the highest level. Very impressive against LSU. And I would say obviously has a higher floor than Jaren Hall, but I would make the argument that the ceiling for Jordan Travis and for Jaren Hall is relatively the same. It's just that Jaren Hall has more ground to make up as far as if he can just learn the system, if he can learn what it takes to play at the NFL level, then he can be really good. Jordan Travis is on that same level, except he has more of a head start compared to Hall. Lastly, I want to talk about Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado. Much like Bo Nix, I'm going to put him in the I need to see more from him category, which is more than fair. And in a way, it's apples to oranges because Bo Nix is now playing his fifth year at the FBS level. Shedeur Sanders went from FCS to FBS football. This is his first year playing in it. But man, what Colorado did to TCU, I'm not going to bore you with the details. We all saw what happened. And none of us outside of the state of Colorado, none of us expected to see what we saw last Saturday. What they did to the previously 17th ranked TCU Horned Frogs was absolutely incredible. And part of the hype with Colorado is, I would say, at least three reasons. Obviously, the head coach, Deion Sanders, Travis Hunter, who's going to be part of the Heisman finalists as a two-way player. I don't know how realistic it is to expect for him to keep that up. The wear and tear he's going to build up on his body playing 120 plus snaps a game. I don't know how much he can keep that up, but clearly last weekend he did both ends at a high level. And the third being Shedeur Sanders. 510 yards? Are you kidding me? And in the second half of that game, it was basically a back and forth as far as lead changes. And every time that TCU would recapture the lead, I would say to myself, you know what? This was very nice by Colorado, but at some point, this has to end. They're going to make a mistake, and they never did. There were so many clutch situations, third and long, fourth down situations to where Shedeur Sanders set hut, boom, calm in the pocket, what, boom, goes through his reads, makes the throw, and these are big boy throws, throwing the ball downfield to keep the drive alive. The throws that he made all game long took guts. That's a stone cold killer, and you can't teach that. So knowing that, if he can also maintain that level of play, obviously they just beat TCU, and you know what? Maybe it was just a fluke. I don't know. I'm excited about this. Colorado is must-see TV, in part because of Shedeur Sanders. They just beat TCU. They're going to face Oregon, USC, Nebraska. Who else they got? They've got Utah to end the year. They've got Oregon State. So they're going to have some competition. If he can keep it up, boy, I tell you, at the next level, he can be something special. Vikings football is back. I'm excited. Tomorrow will be Vikings versus Bucks preview. And then after that, Sunday will be the first of the live streams that I'm doing. Again, as a reminder, every regular season and playoff game for the Vikings, I will be doing a live stream watch party. Please participate if you want. We always have a good time whenever I go ahead and do it. But this is the first year where I'm going to do it all year round. Super excited about it. We'll see you tomorrow.